Isn't that a great song? Do we have any 70s people in the room? I'm a 70s guy, okay? And I really love it. And a couple weeks ago, I was sitting in the car and I'm thinking they're probably going to ask about a walkout song. And that song came on the radio and I said, let your love flow. How could be better than let your love flow, right?
Yeah.
Now this is the story. This is so cool. That song hit the top of the charts in 1976 in 3 categories. It was the top of pop, top rock, and top country. And I'm sitting in my Jeep thinking, wow, that's a long time ago. It hit all 3 categories, and then it hit me with Life Vantage. Why shouldn't and couldn't Life Vantage be in the top 3 categories? Why couldn't we be #1 in activation products? Why shouldn't we be #1 in compensation? And why shouldn't we be #1 in culture?
Yes! Yes!
We didn't have culture in our old company, okay? We came here, and so many of you loved on us. And we were damaged people when we came here. I'm telling you, we were damaged, okay?
Yes, he certainly is a junkie from the 70s. In music only. I mean, nothing else. I talked off there. But a lot of our secret day is really taking our Jeep on the beach, see the sunrise. It's just so beautiful in Florida. Maybe barbecuing some hot dogs, and there is always 70 music on the phone, on the radios. But we started our network marketing company in 1992, our journey, our career. We stayed with that company for 25 years, from really the day they opened to the day they closed. And we really learned how to do business with that company. We're actually really successful. We've been with Life Vantage for 6.5 years, and we're really excited about that. It just keeps getting better for us. We've never been more excited, and recently just celebrated ranking advancement on our second business to EC1, so we're really excited. Thanks, yeah. But we're going to talk about, how you can get closer to where the magic happens in this business, the really good stuff. And there are some challenges obstacles, some ways you're going to need to push yourself, but we're going to share where the magic happens.
She teases me all the time about being that junkie in the 70s, but I met April in 1974. Yes, that is true, okay? I know she's 39, do the math. But I met her in 74, we graduated high school in 78, and got engaged in 79. That's why I'm in a time warp in the 70s, okay? It's not just the music. A lot of good stuff happened back then, But let me ask you a question. Have you ever prayed or meditated and asked God to put the right people in your path?
Yeah.
Like, am I the only one that ever does that? I'm saying, I want my Popes. I want a Tara. I want a Marcel. I want a Ty. Am I the only one that does that? Have you ever done it?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Have you ever done it?
Yes! Every day.
Those people can build your business really fast, right? I mean, we're all looking for that person that can do that.
Have you ever considered the right people may be in your path every day, and maybe your eyes aren't open to what they look like? How many people do we miss out? I mean, all the people here agree, but how many people do we pass every day?
We're going to address how important it is. There's going to be 3 things that we talk to you about. We're going to address how important it is to expect and embrace the storms in this business. Anyone ever deal with storms?
Yeah.
Okay, but what always happens after a storm? Isn't it calm and peaceful and nice? But you got to go through the storm. We're going to talk about getting excited about the difficulties and challenges. You know why? Say, why would I want to get excited about that? The magic is really close when you're there. Anyone want to experience the magic in this business?
Yes.
Okay, you got to deal with the storms first, and then the magic comes.
And if we don't learn to take action when the storms the challenges show up, our business will never get to experience the magic. So navigating the storms comes first, the challenges, test, and then the magic, and then after comes the storm, or before the storm.
So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. We'll all go to lunch after this, but I want you to do me a favor. Is everybody ready to get a little bit more uncomfortable?
Yes.
Are you ready to do that?
Yes.
Look at the message that's been coming out for 2 days, okay? But I'm going to ask everybody, including our board of directors, our C-Corp people, our executives at the company, all our presidentials, all the executive distributors, everyone out here in this room, will you get a little bit more uncomfortable so we can advance this company?
Yes.
Who wants to take it from 200 million to 500 million to $1 billion?
Yes.
But we're going to have to do things a little bit different than the way we've been doing, because we've kind of been in that 200 million, 250 for a while now. And it's time to move that bar. Don't you agree?
Yes.
It's time to move it.
Okay, so first we have a 5-minute in-length story for you to listen to. It'll be on the screen. It's about a little boy, but it also could be about a little girl. So kind of insert yourself in there. The words will be on the screen for you to follow along with.
Do me a favor. And I know we've been here a couple hours and lunch is next, but if you really want to appreciate and feel this story, close your eyes. April and I are going to be talking, narrating it, and imagine that you are this little boy. Okay? Recording, please.
The little boy put on his clothes for the cold weather and then told his father, "Okay, Dad, I'm ready." His dad, the pastor, said, "Ready for what?" "Dad, it's time to go outside and distribute our flyers." Dad replied, "Son, it's very cold outside and it's drizzling." The child looked surprised at his father and said, "But Dad, people need to know about God even on rainy days." Dad replied, "Son, I'm not going outside in this weather." With despair, the child said, "Dad, can I go alone? Please?" His father waited for a moment and then said, "Son, you can go. Here are the flyers. Be careful. Thank you, Dad." And with this, the son went out into the rain. The 11-year-old walked all the streets of the village, handing out the flyers to the people he saw. After 2 hours of walking in the rain and cold, and with his last flyer in his hand, he stopped at a corner to see if he saw someone to give the flyer to. But the streets were totally deserted. Then he turned to the first house he saw, walked to the front door, rang the bell several times, and waited. But no one came out. Finally, the boy turned to leave. But something stopped him. The child turned back to the door and began to ring the bell and pound on the door strongly with his knuckles. He kept waiting. Finally, the door was opened gently. A lady came out with a very sad look and gently asked,
"What can I do for you, son?"
With radiant eyes and a bright smile, the child said, "Lady, I'm sorry if I upset you, but I just want to tell you that God really loves you and that I came to give you my last flyer, which talks about God and his great love." The boy then gave her the flyer. She just said,
"Thank you, son. God bless you."
Well, the next Sunday morning, the pastor in the pulpit, and when the service began, he asked, "Does someone have a testimony or something they want to share?" Gently, in the back row of the church, an older lady stood up. When she started talking, a radiant and glorious look sprouted from her eyes.
"Nobody in this church knows me. I've never been here, and even last Sunday I was not Christian. My husband died a while ago, leaving me alone in this world. Last Sunday was a particularly cold and rainy day. It was so cold and lonely in my heart. I was upstairs on my bed in a fetal position. I couldn't stop crying. My body was shaking. I was so scared, alone, and heartbroken. And then suddenly I heard the loud sound of the door being knocked on. So I thought, I'll just wait for a moment, and whenever it is, will go away. I waited and I waited, but the door knocking was getting louder and louder every time. It got so loud that I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I wondered, who could it be? No one ever comes to my door or comes to visit me. I got off my bed and went to the door while the bell was still ringing and the door was still being knocked on. When I opened the door, I couldn't believe my eyes. In the front of my door was the most radiant and angelic child I'd ever seen. His smile, oh, I can never describe it. The words that came out of his mouth made my heart, which had been dead for so long, come back to life. Then he said, with the voice of a cherub,
Lady, I just want to tell you that God really loves you.
when the little angel disappeared between the cold and the rain, I closed my door and read every word of the flyer. Then I went back to my bed and thought about this little boy and how he had just appeared at my door. Now I'm a happy daughter of the King. Since the direction of the boy, when he left, was to this church, I came personally to say thank you to the little angel of God who came just in time to rescue my life from hell and replace it with eternity in God's presence.
Amen.
Everyone cried in the church. The pastor came down from the pulpit to the first bench where the little boy was sitting. He took his son in his arms and cried uncontrollably. God's message can make a big difference in someone's life. Never be afraid to spread the love of God.
Amen.
Marcy Nettles. Thank you. Marcy posted something like this, almost identical. I saw it about, I don't know, maybe it was a month ago, a month and a half ago, and it spoke to me because that message was Life Vantage. Okay, that message was Life Vantage. And, you know, you heard the message say, God's message can make a big difference in someone's life. Never be afraid to share the love of God. But right after that, I heard in my head, Life Vantage's message can make a big difference in someone's life. Never be afraid to spread the love that Life Vantage has to offer.
Yes.
That's the message, folks. I mean, and you know, we were going through this, and I want to apologize to Ashlyn Whitaker. I just love her. We're kind of going through this, and I said, do you have a moment that you like, I'm going to need you for about a half hour. Can I go through this with you? Because this is a little bit different than anything I've done before. And she said, sure. And I go through the presentation, and I get back to her on Zoom, and she's crying. And I'm like, oh, I'm dead. I am dead now. I made somebody cry at the office, you know what I mean? I am in trouble. And you know what she said? And you need to reach out to her and get her story. She said, that happened to me this morning with somebody I went to college with. She didn't feel like doing it, and she chose to do it, and something spectacular happened. And that's going to be what we talk to you about. April?
Yeah, we all need to awaken the little boy or the little girl inside of us, doing uncomfortable things that unleashes this magic that we're going to talk about. We need to get excited when we feel uncomfortable. We're going to share a few stories. But those are the times when we're really being tested. That's when the people are being put in our path. Doing the uncomfortable really unleashes the magic.
So who wants to help move Life Vantage from 200 to 500 to a billion? Now, here's something that we all have to do, and we're not aware of it. We have to stop allowing complacency to slow us down. And complacency has a negative tone to it, and I don't mean it that way. It's not like April stopped being complacent or Bobby stopped being complacent. No, when you get in this business, there's a burn that you have to do this business. And every time we achieve some success, there's a little bit of complacency that settles in because the urgency ain't quite as intense as it was when we started. And before you know it, you can get a few years out, and you look back 3 or 4 years, and it's like, I'm not working like that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And it's amazing, but we need to go through the storms first. The storms are the test to see how bad we really want this, okay? How many people have had good results with either products or business with LifeVantage?
How many people needed to be reached out more than once, before starting the products? More than
Hands,
once,
please.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times? Was it 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, 10 times? Okay. Maybe it took a year, 6 years, a month, a year, multiple years. So certainly worth it. But so many of our lives were changed for the better. Don't you agree with that? And how many have experienced positive health benefits as well? But would you rather be before LifeVantage or where you are now with LifeVantage and moving forward?
I mean, think about it. Would you rather be back where you were before LifeVantage or with LifeVantage? So, are you ready to rise?
Yes.
I mean, are we ready to change this to a different point? Look around. We have probably a couple thousand people in here. Who's ready to make things bigger and better?
Woo!
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
We all need to start doing things when we least feel like it. That is the test. Okay, when you feel like, I don't want to do it, okay, is when you need to do it. The magic is right around the corner, but you gotta do it. Okay, that's the test.
You can see there's some pictures of people that we all love their stories, know them dear, love them. But just a reminder, because they've all been super successful, who wouldn't want them in your business, So whether it's Michelle and Sean Poe, more than a month to enroll them. Michelle wasn't feeling well at that time. Angie Harper, loved this story, her best friend Tara, 9 years, would you stick with
Not
your
advised,
friend?
9 years. Not advised.
And then Tara Carey, it took you 6 years to get her, but certainly worth it, And Brandon and Lynette, they can all really relate to this, the person not watching the video on the first time, but 4 weeks to watch a video. And then I always love this story. I wouldn't have wanted to be in this position, but Greg Deeker selling his wife's favorite tree. If you haven't heard that story, I want to ask him about it.
This room is filled with these stories, and when we go out to lunch later, or you're sitting with someone, ask the person next to you, what's your story? Because the room is filled with them. We could have put hundreds of pictures up there, but I want to share a couple that happened to us. We've been 32 years in the industry, 6.5 years, with LifeVantage, 25 with a prior company. And there's some things that happen to us, and you have probably all experiences, you probably all have your own examples, but when you push through a weird, scary situation, how many times did something good happen right after that? I mean, think about it. So, I'm going to make you laugh a little bit, probably date myself even more.
Oh my.
Does anyone remember the movie Deliverance? Here we go, Skip. That's like the three-way thing. Back in the early 70s, there was a movie called Deliverance, and I'll keep that real short, but the reason I'm showing you that picture, it was one of the scariest movies ever made when it first came out. And it was about 5 guys that were lost in the woods, being hunted by mountain people, that less civilized people call it, okay? Being hunted, murdered, raped, chased, and all of it, okay? And they're trying to get away down the river, okay? That they don't know how to go. So, our very first meeting for a stranger, a cold market person, was up in a mountain in New York. We lived downstate. It was up in a mountain, and I'm going to put this up here, okay? was up in a mountain. It was a cold market guy. It was a guy named Rich. He was a school teacher. Came as a referral, okay? And he said, I'm really liking this product. This is over 30 years ago. It was our first meeting with a stranger. And he said, I can get a bunch of people in my house if you'll come to a meeting. And we said, sure, okay. And he says, probably 2.5 hours or so from where you are. So he said, there'll be some signs after you get off the highway. Don't mind, they're kind of hand-painted, they're wooden. Just don't pay a lot of attention to it, but just follow them. We're off the road, we're up in a mountain, it's pitch black. There's no lights, there's no nothing. It's a dirt road, a one-way road. I'm wondering, how would someone go this way when we're going this way, okay? And we're driving to like nowhere. I thought we were in Deliverance. I was waiting for the banjos to play, okay? I mean, I'm telling you, I almost pooped my pants. I didn't know how I was going to get out of that. Listen to this. All of a sudden, there's lights. There's a really nice home, this side of a black mountain. They're growing their own food in the backyard. This is 30 years ago. But all the cars around were Mercedes and BMWs. And I'm like, what in the world just happened? You know, we did that meeting. The dog was knocking over the product display. The slides were a carousel with the little things in the carousel. He knocked that over. We didn't know what was going on. We left, they're very nice people, and we did $45,000 in business in that meeting. That meeting, first meeting, okay? And it launched one of our bigger lines in that business. And then there was another time, okay, that the weather was not so good, if we could get the next slide. And that's about what it looked like. We were supposed to go down and do a meeting in Baltimore from New York, drive down, normal 3.5 hour ride. The doctor, an endocrinologist we were working with down there, said, don't come. I said, what do you mean don't come? He says, a nor'easter's coming in, man, don't come. We're in Long Island, he's in Baltimore. And I said, no, we can't not come. We never cancel a meeting. That is not happening. And we literally plowed our way down there, 7 hours it took to get there. Nobody showed up except one guy. And this gentleman had lost 90 pounds. He was an older man. He had diabetes. He had a lot of problems. He shared his story and he said, my son is a doctor in Ohio. He thought he was going to be burying me soon, but I'm going to be around a whole lot longer because I'm a whole lot healthier. That son got into business. It became a multi-million-dollar leg. We never would have met him if we didn't drive through the store. It never would have happened. And you all got stories like this, I know. But here's another one. You guys will laugh at this one, okay? Now, that ain't me on the left, but it might as well be, okay? April came home one day and used the we word again. I don't like the we word when she comes home, okay? But she used the we word and she said, we are playing tennis. And I'm saying, we don't play tennis. You play tennis. She said, no, we are. We need to get around these doctors, and at the country club, all I'm playing with are the wives of doctors. And they keep asking if we want to play mixed doubles. Okay, so she said, I'll dress you up and you stand there and So that's what I looked like after I was playing the first couple of times, okay? So that became our doctor's program in that company because of that. That doctor joined, and it became the biggest, most profitable leg in our history so far. This one is the bigger, okay? But up to date now.
Okay, so those are some examples Bobby talked about of things that, had time to mature and things that could go on because of the things we did. But just last week, I can tell you, I was invited to a luncheon at a very expensive country club. Kind of really, even as much as I play tennis, is felt out of my comfort zone. But luckily, when I got the invite, I said, I have a tennis match. I'm already busy, so there was an easy out. But it rained that morning. And the lady texted me again and said, if you're rained out, because these are league matches, please, come join me for lunch. And I'm thinking, I don't really want to do it. It was out of my comfort zone, didn't know the people and stuff. And I kind of ran it past Bobby, who's always kind of my filter, and he's like, go, new people, the whole thing. So I didn't have a gift or anything. Somebody invites you to lunch, you want to bring a gift, it's only polite. So I actually had a card and a gift bag, and I took the True Renew and went to lunch. Well, I got to tell you, not only did this lady, who is very, very wealthy and very well established, not only did she open my True Renew at the table with all these ladies that I didn't know, but we used a butter knife and started putting it in people's hands. So anyway, it's really new in it. I look to her as my referral now for a lot of different people, but she's one of my new customers. And the thing is, I just never know. It starts with a person who gives you a referral, who introduces you to more people. She's already invited me back for lunch to play some more tennis. And it may never go any further than a customer, but we can all start there and let things happen with our business. And really big things can happen. So, do you want to do double or triple your volume? Do you want to increase that volume?
Yes.
I mean, when we individually do this, then the LifeVantage company will grow. 200 million, 500 million, $1 billion. We can all rise together.
Can I get that last slide? We're going to close with this, and there's 3 things that I'm going to ask you, okay? Would you resist complacency? Will you resist it, okay? Even as you begin making money, as you begin having success, will you resist it and try and stay as close to you were in the beginning, the way you were working? Is that a yes? Will you do that?
Yes.
Can we all do that? Okay, everybody, okay? The tough one is embracing the storms, okay? And we all hear, I look at all these presidentials and executives, and it's like, all their stories have magic in them. And you say, boy, I wish. But you know what? They navigated the storms. They went through them, okay? They pushed. I remember talking to Carrie recently, and I asked her about Tara and how Tara was. I know it took about 6 years. And she says, I just kept her informed. I just kept reaching out. And the first 6 years, there wasn't any interest. But then something changed in the business where she was, and then all of a sudden, there was interest, okay? Our responsibility is to share the information that we have. It's not to prejudge who will do it and who won't. Okay? And I firmly believe God is always putting the right people in our path. But if we don't deal with the storm, if we don't press through, then we don't get to see the magic. How would you let any of those people at April Talk that was up there, maybe even the person sitting next to you, would you want to miss one of them?
No.
And none of us want to do that. So April?
So let's be an angel for everybody that is praying for one, needs one. We've heard many stories about that. And after all, someone was your angel. It's time to rise and pay it forward.
We love you. We are so grateful for you, especially for the love you showed us. We came here damaged. We got hurt real bad, and all you did was love on us. Thank you. We love you.